Welcome to this part, where psychology meets policy and the future of money is rewritten before our eyes. Chapter 19: Behavioral Finance and Currency Markets. 19.1 Introduction. Traditional exchange rate models assume rational agents, efficient markets, and unbiased expectations. However, decades of empirical evidence demonstrate that FX markets are heavily influenced by behavioral biases, cognitive limitations, and social dynamics. Behavioral finance provides a framework for understanding persistent deviations from rational benchmarks in currency markets. 19.2 Herd behavior in FX markets. Herd behavior occurs when market participants imitate the actions of others rather than relying on private information. In FX markets, herding is amplified by high leverage, short-term horizons, concentrated information sources, benchmark-driven institutional mandates. Empirical studies show that herding intensifies during periods of uncertainty, leading to exchange rate overshooting, volatility spikes, correlated positioning across institutions. Importantly, herding is not confined to retail traders. It is most pronounced among professional asset managers, especially during macro regime shifts. 19.3 Overreaction and underreaction. FX markets exhibit both overreaction to news shocks, e.g., surprise policy announcements, underreaction to slow-moving fundamentals, e.g., productivity trends. Short-term overreaction often reflects stop-loss cascades, algorithmic amplification, liquidity shortages. Underreaction, by contrast, is associated with information processing delays, model uncertainty, career risk concerns among fund managers. These dynamics generate predictable medium-term reversals, challenging strict market efficiency. 19.4 Sentiment in currency markets. Sentiment represents collective beliefs not fully justified by fundamentals. In FX markets, sentiment is measured using survey-based indicators, e.g., positioning surveys, options implied skewness, news-based sentiment indices, flow data from prime brokers. High optimism or pessimism often precedes trend exhaustion, particularly when sentiment diverges from macro fundamentals. 19.5 Limits to arbitrage. Even when mispricing is identified, arbitrage is constrained by funding risk, model risk, drawdown aversion, institutional constraints. As a result, behavioral distortions can persist for extended periods, particularly in currency markets with shallow liquidity or policy uncertainty. 19.6 Implications for FX research. Behavioral finance explains why exchange rates deviate from fundamentals. Volatility exceeds rational benchmarks. Crises propagate through expectations rather than balance sheets alone. Behavior is not noise, it is a core structural feature of FX markets. Chapter 20: Speculation, Manipulation, and Regulation. 20.1 Introduction. Foreign exchange markets are among the largest and least centralized financial markets in the world. While speculation plays a vital role in liquidity provision and price discovery, it also creates opportunities for manipulation and abuse. 20.2 Speculation in FX markets. Speculation involves taking positions based on expected exchange rate movements. In academic research, speculation is not inherently destabilizing. Instead, it improves liquidity under normal conditions. It accelerates price discovery. It absorbs risk from hedgers. However, excessive speculative leverage can magnify volatility during stress periods. 20.3 FX fixing and manipulation scandals. Investigations revealed widespread manipulation of benchmark FX rates, particularly around the WM/Reuters fix. Key practices included coordinated order placement, information sharing among dealers, front-running client orders. These scandals highlighted structural weaknesses in FX market governance. 20.4 Regulatory frameworks. Unlike equities, FX markets historically lacked centralized oversight. Post-crisis reforms include enhanced conduct rules, market abuse regulations, greater transparency requirements. However, enforcement remains fragmented across jurisdictions. 20.5 Role of VIS and global oversight. The Bank for International Settlements plays a central role in coordinating regulatory standards, monitoring systemic FX risk, promoting best practices through the Global FX Code. The Global FX Code represents a principles-based approach to market integrity rather than prescriptive regulation. 20.6 Trade-offs in regulation. Overregulation risks. Reduced liquidity. Wider bid-ask spreads. Migration to less transparent venues. Effective FX regulation must balance market integrity with market efficiency.